Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month slows. Full terms at mintmobile.com.
On today's Smart 7, Rishi struggles to recover from D-Day gaffe, EU elections lead to chaos and much more. It's Monday 10th of June, it's National Iced Tea Day, and happy birthday Elizabeth Hurley.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
It was a bad weekend for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak as he struggled to recover from the unforced error of leaving D-Day commemorations in Normandy early on Thursday to fly back to the UK. He's been facing a major backlash for what's considered to be the biggest gaffe of the general election campaign so far, with several cabinet ministers calling him out for missing the International Leaders event, which was attended by David Cameron instead. Rishi's excuse? It was all planned out weeks in advance and he didn't realise at the time that there'd be an election coming up.
The itinerary for these events was set weeks ago before the general election campaign. I participated in events both in Portsmouth and in France, and having fully participated in all the British events with British veterans, I returned home before the International Leaders event. That was a mistake and I apologise for that.
Newly appointed Reform UK leader Nigel Farage was quick to capitalise on the mistake, calling Rishi's patriotism into question in a move that was also criticised as inappropriate.
Well, if he doesn't understand how vitally important D-Day is, it's at the edge of living memory. This was the last time ever there'll be a gathering of veterans on parade in Normandy. And if he's not prepared to go to the international commemoration with the heads of so many different countries, overlooking a beach in which our American allies lost thousands of men, that says a lot about him.
The campaign trail continued this weekend, but things didn't get any better for Rishi, who was heckled by a local GP during a speech in Wiltshire on Friday. Dr Jane Lees-Millais, a Tory party member, was angry at the way the government has changed the rules on GP funding.
The NHS is disintegrating. I am one of 2,500 GPs in this country who are currently unemployed due to your policies. What are you going to do about that? 37,000 GPs will not vote Conservative because of the constructive dismissal of general practice that is currently occurring.
Meanwhile, Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer, who did attend the full D-Day commemorations, by the way, was focused on taxes. Ahead of his party's manifesto being published this week, the Labour leader confirmed there would be no surprise tax increases should his party be successful next month.
Let me be absolutely clear, we will not raise tax for working people. So that means we will not raise income tax, national insurance or VAT, because all of our plans are fully costed and fully funded, and none of them require tax rises over and above the ones that we've already announced.
Sunday night saw the preliminary results of the European parliamentary elections, and it was an evening of drama. Polls had predicted that far-right parties across Europe would make gains, and that certainly seems to be what happened, although there were also gains on the left while centrist parties held their own. In Germany, the far-right ADF made significant gains at the expense of the Greens. In Belgium, where a general election was held on the same day as the European vote, PM Alexander De Croo announced he would resign as his Liberal Party failed to win a majority. But the most dramatic result of the evening was in France, where Marine Le Pen's right-wing National Rally Party won an incredible 32% of the vote, twice that of their nearest rivals. French President Emmanuel Macron reacted immediately, triggering a snap general election to let the country decide what happens next.
This is a serious and weighty decision, but above all of it, is an act of trust. Confidence in you, my dear compatriots, in the ability of the French people to make the just choice for themselves and for future generations.
4 more Israeli hostages were reunited with their families this weekend, following a complex IDF raid on the Nuseirat area of Gaza that saw potentially hundreds of Palestinian casualties. Noah Argamani, Almog Meherjan, Andrei Kozlov and Shlomi Ziv were all rescued on Saturday, 8 months on from their kidnapping at the Nova Music Festival last October. But Palestinian authorities claim the raids, which took place in and around the Nuseirat refugee camp, left almost 300 Palestinians dead and local hospitals overwhelmed. It all comes as Israeli War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz announced his resignation on Sunday in a move that will put pressure on PM Netanyahu. Mother of hostage Almog Orit Meir was happy to have her son back.
Thank you for bringing my son to me, to us. I'm so excited that I could hug him today.
Still to come on today's Smart 7, Verstappen comes out on top in Canada and tributes to a much-loved TV doctor. Right after this.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome back. Max Verstappen was back on top at the Montreal Grand Prix this weekend. Mercedes' George Russell had clinched pole position over Verstappen with an identical qualifying time, thanks to finishing with the fastest time first. The race itself was chaotic, with rain and the safety car both playing a role in a Grand Prix that saw a huge battle between McLaren's Lando Norris and Red Bull's Verstappen. The most surprising result was that the two Mercedes of Russell and Hamilton finished third and fourth. Max now has a 56-point lead over his nearest rivals and was happy with the race.
And I think as a team we just did really well today. We remained calm. I think we pitted at the right time. Of course, the safety car worked out nicely for us, but even after that, I think we were managing the gaps quite well. I love it. That was a lot of fun. Those kind of races, you need them once in a while.
More than 30 years since he was first created, Alan Partridge is back. The incompetent radio DJ will soon be making his return to television screens, with filming underway for a new 6-part mockumentary And Did Those Feet, which premieres on the BBC later this year. Actor Steve Coogan made an appearance on The One Show to promote the series and revealed just how close he's become to his character over the past 3 decades.
As I've grown older, Alan and I have become closer and closer and closer. So I think there's almost a complete overlap in the Venn diagram. So I think by about this time next year, I will have completely become Alan.
There was an upsetting update in the search for Dr. Michael Mosley this weekend after a body was discovered around 30 minutes' walk from where the missing British TV presenter was last seen. Michael vanished on Wednesday afternoon after going for a walk on the Greek island of Symi, where he was holidaying with his wife. But the extensive 5-day search was called off on Sunday when a local camera crew spotted a body on rocky terrain near a resort. Tributes have already been flooding in for Michael, who was a pioneer of the 5-2 intermittent fasting diet and also known for his radical approach to TV science, often using himself as a guinea pig for experiments. Here's fellow TV doctor Phil Hammond talking about his former colleague.
And so one of the big strands he'll be remembered for is not just his popularising an explanation of science, but the fact that he would experiment himself. He would eat the tapeworm, he'd have the sigmoidoscopy, he'd smoke a cigarette and see what it did to him. And I think that's what made his storytelling so engaging.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.